G'day Bomber fans, we may have another unnecessarily stressful weekend coming up. Essendon vs North Melbourne at Marvel Stadium. It's a good old fashioned stakeless Saturday afternoon. We win, we delay the inevitable end to our season. We lose and our season is done. It's not really a big game, but it could be a bloody frustrating one going off recent form. Before I get into the preview though, we have votes from our West Coast escape to get through. The votes are pretty similar, mine and yours. Langford and Hind get the majority. I liked BZT, you guys liked Merritt. BZT received the fourth most votes from you guys, I believe, so he's a tad unlucky, but it works out well because Merritt was my fourth or fifth best on ground. The tally, as you can see, Langford has shot up into second place. Merritt is still well and truly ahead. Not much change aside from that though. Still a few weeks left to go in the year, so keep up the good work with the votes. So Marvel Stadium, roof closed, Saturday afternoon, graveyard time slot. We must be playing North Melbourne. This is a funny rivalry. It's a rivalry that is a tad one-sided. We have long been the older brother of North. They love to beat us. They don't often do. We have won our last 9 games against them. Last time we lost was in 2016 when all those players were banned, but we don't talk about that. Since that game, North have been cellar dwellers. They have been going through a rebuild for about a decade really. Always young, always near the bottom of the ladder, but what you get with a young team is the capability for them to randomly click into gear and use their energy for good. Hawthorn are a great example of that. A young team that get belted a lot, but every now and then they show they can upset teams much better than them, so we can't count out North from doing this either. This game has banana peel written all over it. It's not West Coast, where this list is decimated by injury and other issues. North have some real players. They haven't won since round 2, but have challenged teams like Melbourne and St Kilda recently. They aren't a walkover. If West Coast are a walkover, we got to be really cautious about North. So let's go through this team zone by zone. Defense, it's definitely not top tier. They are one of 2 teams to have conceded over 2,000 points for the year. There is every chance we go through the year not even reaching that mark, so it's leaky to say the least. Aiden Core and Ben Mackay are serviceable key backs. Core is pretty underrated. Mackay we will all be watching closely as a fan base because of his links to our club. You've got a mix of old and young. Zeeble will be back there, young Jackson Archer, Luke McDonald, their vice captain. You would love for Jake Stringer to be playing against this defense. He could easily have one of those package days and just tear up. It's a defense that could easily concede a barrage of goals. Onto the midfield, they have a double ruck combo of Goldstein and Cherry. Could be a fun matchup for Phillips and Bryan. Goldstein is fresh off a really impressive game against Melbourne. Those two tap it to Simpkins, Scott and Luke Davies-Uniacke. LDU is genuinely an elite midfielder. The others I don't rate as much, but LDU is it. So if they're going to get on top in the contested game, something we've been good at recently, it will be because of that guy. And their forward line, Nick Larkey, Jaden Stevenson, they can kick goals. They actually have a more direct avenue to goals than us, I would say, even though we are generally a more high-scoring team. They have smalls and talls that can hit the scoreboard. It's even more dangerous with Cam Zerha, but I don't think he's playing. North are well and truly in the bottom 2 for points scored. They are second last for points for and second last for points against, as in they concede the most. So it's not a good team at all on paper. Looking at these two teams, disregarding form, you would be a very silly individual or a brave individual to say they look better, but we are in a rough patch of form, so how do we win this game of footy? Well, for starters, we should actually show up this time. I've said it a few times this year, and all the boys really need to do is look at the last time we played North and the last time our last game against West Coast. We show up expecting 4 points. We are probably going to have to play hard for it and risk losing. It's an even comp. Even the worst teams can cause an upset. We don't want to be in headlines for the wrong reasons. I am confident Brad Scott can rally up the boys to ensure we do not become complacent this time round. Even if we do lead, we don't give a sniff like we did last weekend. I want a stress-free week after the game last round. We really need to work on our forward pressure. We have let teams waltz it out of defense in recent weeks. The Eagles moved the ball too easily last weekend, and North have composed heads back there. You look at their list, McDonald, Zeeble, Hall, mature players there that will help the younger heads learn. We need to make sure they are under pressure at all times. We can't allow North to score from their defense because I think they are going to be able to score from the contest as well. We need to completely shut down one of these areas for them, otherwise we might struggle. Speaking of the contest, we need to be hot there. We have been recently, to be fair. We have won contested possession and clearances last 2 rounds. I want that to be 3 in a row. It's just an easier way to score goals than how we've had to do it at times this year. We saw how effective it was against Adelaide and Carlton. It puts defenses under pressure. Players like Parrish, Merritt, Caldwell and Hobbs, they need big days. I think this is a game that can be won from the midfield. You look at that Marvel surface, it's got 30 plus disposal day written all over it. I think Zach Merritt is the key for me. He was huge last time. He may be met with a tag like he was last time we played. He has been down on form a tad in the last few weeks, not at his very, very best. I want 3 votes read out next to his name on Brownlow night for this round. He is someone who can really decide the outcome of this game, more so than a Larkey or Wright or Langford. It's going to be a defense free 3 games, so midfield cohesion matters. If Merritt is shut down, I think we are in trouble. In saying that though, I think we can score from defence against this team as well. North are not a good team at maintaining territory. For starters, they don't capitalise on entries. They average 46 inside 50s for around 8 marks there. We only average 5 more inside 50s, but go at almost 12 marks in our zone, and their forward pressure isn't all that hot really. They average the least tackles inside 50. So you see the foundation there for a team like us to score from defence. It would help with a calm Ridley down there, but you can see McGrath, Hind or Redmond having an impactful night from defence. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing us score a decent percentage of our goals from here as well, not just contest like I touched on. I know I said I want to see us score from stoppages and centre bounces, but a variety of ways would be nice to showcase how we can look going forward. We need to be defensively accountable, not just in our back 50. I think we've been fairly sound, all things considered there, even without Ridley, but defending ball movement has been a worry. We are putting unneeded stress on our backline. Early in the year, we strangled teams a bit and defended the ground tremendously. It's fallen away a tad in recent weeks though, so we need to find that extra defensive energy, the gut running both ways Scott hinted early in the year. We really need more out of our B graders, and by B graders I mean the non-A-listers. We can't rely on Merritt and Parrish and the guts. Caldwell and Hobbs have lowered their colours recently. We need Martin and Durham to get back to their wing form on this Marvel service. We need our Mosquito fleet up and about. I want to see vintage Guelphy back up and about. We can't just expect our best players to be our best players every week. I think this happened to an extent last time we played North. It's an issue I have found to be a bit puzzling, to be honest, because I think we are usually pretty well rounded, but as the year has gone on, the younger players that aren't genuine stars have faded a tad. We need them to lift, not just for this game, but the last 3 weeks to end the season on a high. On to team news. I'm recording this a bit early in the week, so any injury news to come out that isn't here is just missed because of that, really. The Roos have a few players on the cusp of returning. We have 1 or 2 of our own. Setterfield pulled up well from the VFL. That would be handy to give Merritt a hand in the guts. And just a bit of grunt there. He's also a pretty good defensive runner, which helps. I wonder if we were going to make changes to our forward line, specifically the smalls. Tex Wanganeen was fantastic in the reserves. He is due at least a spot on the emergencies. They have a taller forward line. Do we bring in Kane Baldwin to reward his good form in the VFL? Is Kelly's role on the wing working, or do we put him down back again? There are a few questions that will be answered Thursday night regarding selection. Scott isn't one to swing the axe. We haven't made that many team changes all year, so I doubt we see too much action. I think both teams will be relatively unchanged, all things considered, but enough of that. Who is going to win this game of footy? Well, realistically, we should be winning this. I think if we come in complacent, we're a good chance to lose. I think we are the team that decides the outcome of this match. I don't see room for a hard-fought win like the Eagles. I think this could be a bit better for us, a bit more comfortable. It won't be a belting. I think we're a bit too tired for that, but I think we get the job done by, let's say, 25 points. But that's that. Let me know what you think down below. Are you confident? Because I am not. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe, and go Bombers.